We're going to go to LeBron James and his groin injury that he suffered. I believe was this last night or the other night. He's going to be out for 1 to 2 weeks. Now, the Lakers were streaking since they were able to figure things out pretty quickly with Luka Doncic. They've skyrocketed all the way up to the second seed in the Western Conference. But unfortunately, I believe it was in the Celtics game, LeBron James now suffered an injury, and he will probably return to the team 12, 14 days from now. But it's one of those routine injuries, kind of happens around the same time every single year for LeBron. What does this do for the Lakers season?
I think it gives Luka an opportunity to shine even more so than what he already is. Obviously, LeBron James is a very ball dominant player. So you give Luka a little bit more of a chance to settle into the offense. I don't think it really hurts Lakers all that much. You have a team around him that is playing really well. Gabe Vincent has taken another step up. I don't know if you saw the clip where JJ Redick said he won them that game the other day against the Knicks with the big three that he made. I think that it allows Luka to settle in even more so than he already is. And the Lakers do, like, obviously LeBron is such a great player, but I mean, this is kind of like a Luka Doncic x the Maverick. This is almost similar to that Mavericks team that they had when he was playing over there, where he can kind of be the main guy, and then he can kind of flush it out to everybody else. And they play really good defense with or without LeBron, which is kind of a staple of what they've been doing recently. So I don't think that changes all that much. And if you look at the LeBron minutes without Luka, they play really well. They play really well as well. Obviously, you don't want to lose your second possibly best player on that team. I lead second. I think Luka Doncic is the better player. I don't know how many people are arguing that right now, but I think it allows Luka Doncic to get more settled. And I don't think it'll affect them that much, especially because maybe, I don't want to say this is load management, but he was able to make it through the majority of that Celtics game. So it could be a thing where we're coming up on the playoffs. The Lakers look like they're going to be they're going to have one of the better seeds in all of the Western Conference. I think it could be a situation where you give LeBron maybe a little bit longer rest than he needs, and then they'll still have one of those top seeds no matter what. And if they really start tanking after he leaves, then you could see a scenario where he is rushed back a little bit. But 1 to 2 weeks also doesn't sound like that extensive. It's not like he's going out for weeks on end, like 4 to 6 or anything like that. So
yeah, it certainly doesn't sound that extensive. I only mentioned it just because I think that he, has had this injury before. So it's always just something that people want to monitor and just try to double check to make sure that he can come back. I loved your Luka take. I actually was not thinking that route. I was more so thinking about the standings, but I like that. We'll see if that can translate into wins, if he could just start going for 35, 40 points, really just taking over, honestly, because that's what he was doing with Dallas. So now it's kind of his team. Is he ready and comfortable to be able to do that? I mean, he's such a talented player. I definitely think he can. But right now, when I look at the standings, I do get a little bit concerned because the Lakers were 8-2 over the last 10 games. Like I said, shot up to the second seed. They're 40-22, but they're only 2 games ahead of the 5th seed Rockets. And maybe they're okay with playing a team like Memphis or Houston in the first round, and they're okay if they slide a little bit, because right now they'd be slotted to play, one of the play-in teams. But if they were to slide, to Denver, maybe they would draw the Warriors. Maybe they don't want to do that. But right now, whether or not they want to fall or not, I think that there's a real shot, because if Houston is on your back, so is the Grizzlies and Denver. I think you could get easily jumped if all of those teams are healthy and they're playing good basketball. We just saw Jokic have a 30-20-20 game. So he's coming. They're all on their way. I mean, they're tied essentially with Denver right now for the second seed. So, Denver's just played 2 more games than they have. So I could see them falling, even if like Luka plays really, really lights out.
yeah,
That concerns me.
I mean, falling is is a word you can use just because of the fact that you mentioned it. There's such little separation between like the second and 5th seed at this point. I just think that from a Lakers perspective, you're probably not really worried about that many teams other than the Nuggets. Obviously, you have the Grizzlies, and they're coming off a season where they didn't even make the playoffs last year. Then you look at the Nuggets are obviously their biggest competition besides the Thunder, who you also like. I don't know. I won't even get into my Thunder takes.
I just feel like all those teams are so close together that if the Lakers were to fall to 4 or 5, they could still draw the Golden State Warriors, who could move up to 4 or 5. It's just such a thing. It's just such a cluster right there that's where I get worried. I don't see any of the play-in teams actually giving them a run for their money. So I think that second seed is very valuable. Or what if the Nuggets also take a slide too? I mean, it's really close.
Yeah, I think with 20 games left, only missing 1 to 2 weeks won't hurt them all that much. If they play 5, 6 games in that time span and they just go 500, they'll probably be okay with where they're at in the seed, in like where they're seated. And the teams around them are playing well, but not as well as they have been. The Warriors are the closest ones to, or they have a better record over the last 10 games. The Warriors are 9-1 the last 10 games. But besides that, like, and they're looking to make a run as well. But I think that Luka will be able to steer the ship enough where LeBron can come back in 2 weeks and they won't be the 6th seed at least. And then from there, if you have 15 games left in the season, anything can happen. None of those teams are going to get super far away from them either. So I definitely think that it could happen where they're the 5th seed at when LeBron comes back. But I think Luka. I personally, I think Luka is a good enough player where he'll win some games just by himself, and the supporting cast around them legitimately is not bad.
That's what or that's what the Lakers got Luka to do, to take over. If LeBron is not out there to be able to play, it'll be a little bit of a preview to potentially 2, 3, 4 years from now, whenever it is just Luka in a Lakers uniform. They got the Nets, Bucks, Nuggets, Suns, Spurs over the next 5 games. So that's doable. They got the Nuggets again and the Bucks, but after that, but hopefully by then, maybe LeBron is gearing up to play.
Bad teams split against the good teams. I feel like you'll be in the solid, which is legitimately just like all of basketball. But I think Luka can guide them through at least the Nets and maybe splitting through some of the better teams you named.